con los rompe discoteca.
Tú quieres duro. 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 Hoy te demostramos que somos los nuevos jefes del underground. Quieres duro.
Dale duro y dale más duro.
It is high, it is far, it is gone.
Los verdaderos. Vamos pa' la calle.
Mixing live straight from New York City.
Mi gente, how's everyone doing today? Welcome back to another episode of Don Yankee con el Party, brought to you by NYYNEWS. I am Roberto Ruiz, aka Don Sicario. Welcome back, folks. Thank you for taking the time out to vibe with me, and let's discuss some of the comments of this Yankees brass, Brian Cashman, and some of the comments that Aaron Boone has made towards certain moves that he's made through games that has cost us. Overall, let's just discuss the Yankees as we always do. First things first, I want to get this out the way. The Yankees are they're hurting right now. There's a lot of players injured, and we can sit here and discuss that in so many different ways. We could sit here and just use that as an excuse, for why the Yankees are playing so, they're not at their best. They're not healthy. They technically have a quadruple A team out right now. Or we can say, this is all Brian Cashman's fault. All of these injuries are Brian Cashman's fault. How is it his fault? Well, because he continues to bring in players that have histories, that have a history of being injured, returning from injury, have had big injuries, and you know what I'm saying. And Brian Cashman seems to always bring in players at a discount price. Or we could just sit here and say, well, that stuff happens. You never know. The Peraza injury, the Harrison Bader injury when he returned, when he bumped into IKF in the outfield. Stuff like that happens. But a lot of these injuries that we have are from players with lingering injuries, with a history of injuries. So all these possibilities, all these topics, and all these excuses are fine. We can use them all. Because technically, this is such a weird season that all of them make sense. Now, I've done enough complaining during the off season. I'm not going to be here, I told you so. I said no. But y'all know, we've cried in the off season. We were on Twitter, on YouTube with these videos and whatnot, like hoping that Brian Cashman made additional moves to solidify the depth and this lineup. Because technically, to this point right now, our left field is still a hole. Our rotation is shot. I mean, we need our players to come back. We could sit here and go through all of these should've, could've, would've type scenarios, but it is what it is. This is what we have. We can't change anything. We're just fans. But as time progresses and we slowly start to get all our guys back, I have some faith that we're going to go on a run. Now, my worry is that usually every year we'll have a moment where the Yankees are playing terrible because of injuries. Because these injuries, they happen every year. Now, this is how it usually goes. The Yankees either start off hot or start off cold. They look very terrible because of injuries. Then they get everybody back and they look amazing and they go on a run and everybody's like, World Series chase back on. And then the postseason comes and you know how that goes.
Damn, son.
I hope this deadline, Brian Cashman actually makes some moves. My only worry is if we're not healthy in time, if it doesn't seem like the Yankees are going to have a chance, I don't know if Brian Cashman will make any big moves. Will he trade some big contracts? Would he try to get rid of a Donaldson? Would he try to get rid of Hicks, which he's only getting paid $10 million? But for Aaron Hicks and his performance, that seems like a big contract because he's not worth it. This team still has a lot of holes, and for the amount of money that's being paid in this payroll, it's wild. You know, the Tampa Bay Rays, who seem to be on pace to win 100 and maybe past the 1998 Yankees, right? In spirit of, speaking of the 1998 Yankees, shout out to Jack Curry on his book that he brought out, that he released. It's a great book. I just purchased it. I'm only on chapter 4, but so far it's pretty good. The Inside Story of the Greatest Baseball Team Ever, the 1998 Yankees by Jack Curry. Great book. Jack Curry is one of the GOATs. If you haven't purchased the book, if you're not really into books, maybe get the audio. I think that's available. Or just get the book just to have it, because this is something that it's a good memorabilia to have, especially if you're a Yankee fan. But the Rays are playing great, and that their payroll is it's nowhere near what ours is. So when do the Yankees decide to actually get away from this quote-unquote process that Brian Cashman has? I was tweeting a few days ago, at what point do we switch our attention towards Hal Steinbrenner for letting Cashman continue to operate the way that he has? At some point, you're going to have to kind of switch something up. I think if the Yankees were to not make the playoffs this year, I think that would be the budge. I think that would be the push to kind of switch things around. I hear a lot of fire Brian Cashman. Oh, but if you fire him, who are you going to replace him with? I don't know, maybe Simeon or Minaya, the two of the GMs that they brought on board, who are great GMs. Simeon, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that scouted Derek Jeter. So don't sit there and say, well, you can't fire Brian Cashman, because then who are you going to bring on board? Or like how Michael Kay loves to say, if you fire Brian Cashman, he's going to get a job in a matter of a few hours or a day or whatever. There's going to be some team that's going to pick him up right away. Cool. Congratulations. Let him go there. Let him start the process with them. I don't care. But the Yankees need to they need to do something. They need to switch something up. The culture has to change. Something has to change. Because all of these years with the same process, and it kind of seems like it's repetitive. It's always the same every year. Players get hurt. The Yankees bring in players. Those players get hurt. They come back. We go on a run. We get eliminated. Same thing every year. They bring in, instead of bringing in some elite bats that, and let's be honest, like, if the Yankees would have brought in Bryce Harper, we would have had, I feel like we would have made it deep. One of these years, we would have made it deep in the playoffs. Or even a Machado. Or if Cashman would have traded these prospects and would have landed Verlander when he could have. Like, there's a lot of moves that the Brian Cashman isn't making that we have a lot of, man, if only he would have done that move. And I'm kind of sick of it already. I'm kind of tired of it. But us fans, the only way we'll be able to make our point across and for the brass to notice is if they stop attending the games. If we stop streaming the games. The Yankees brass, they're so lucky that this fan base is so determined and so, we're diehards, right? We even while we're losing and going through all of this headache, we still attend the games. We still spend our money, our hard-earned money, towards this team and this organization, and they know that. So enough is enough. I feel like I'm going to just sit back and kind of just watch how everything goes. I'm going to kind of suffer in silence because I did enough crying. I don't mean literally crying, but you know what I mean. I did a lot of complaining during the off season. So now we're going to just kind of sit back and see what happens. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I told you so, or oh, this, you know, we're not going to do none of that. We're going to just sit here and enjoy the season and see what happens. Hopefully, all our players come back and they could go on a run. Hopefully, you know, maybe this is the year where instead of starting off hot or getting hot towards the middle or whatever, and hopefully maybe this is the year where everything starts to click towards the end of the year and we can make a real push for the World Series. Maybe, a lot of ifs. But, you know, maybe this could be the year where everything kind of happens towards the last month of the season. The injuries, this is the first time. I mean, there probably could have been another year, but I don't remember a season where we've had this many injuries. I mean, this is bad. You know, we're missing a lot of key guys right now. I see a lot of other fan bases comparing their injuries to ours. We have so many starters missing. No, there's not one other team out there right now that's compared to us with these injuries. But I want to know what's going to happen during the trade deadline. What do you guys think? Do you think we're going to actually make some moves? Do you think Brian Cashman's going to get rid of... I mean, during his interview, and let's talk about his interview real quick. He said what everybody thought he was going to say. He spoke about the injuries. He spoke about the players' performance. And he spoke about the deadline. And one thing that I found interesting was he mentioned the infield. How we have a lot of infielders. And basically they're going to be looking to make some moves. Who is it? Glaber? Peraza? IKF? I mean, the usual suspects? We don't know. They asked him if he could have made some bigger moves or if he could have solidified certain moves during the offseason. And he basically said that in lamer terms, what other teams were asking and giving back to us wasn't worth it. So I'm assuming they wanted the Volpes or Dominguez, and they were probably asking for a haul. And you know Brian Cashman doesn't work that way. He doesn't operate that way. So his comments it's the same thing every year. Isn't that weird? It's always the same. It's always the same comments. Oh, this team is good. I know they're capable. This is a championship caliber team. It's the injuries, but again, how about we stop bringing on players that have a history of injuries? It's like they were off the top of their head. I mean, just look at the Montas deal. Like, there's some, and there's a few others that Brian Cashman it's like he's going for the cheaper deals instead of just going all out and going for a star player every year and kind of accumulating them up. I mean, by now we would have been in the World Series if all the stars that were tied to the Yankees that we never signed or never traded for, if those moves would have actually happened, this team would be stacked right now. But shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm beyond fed up. I'm at that point where I'm just like, all right, let's see what happens. And I think all fans should be that way too, because no matter how much we complain, no matter what we sit here and throw a tantrum off, the Yankees organization isn't gonna change anything. They're not gonna change the process. If they were gonna change anything, Brian Cashman would not have gotten a 4-year extension.
Damn, son.
Let's be real. Hal Steinbrenner, he's not in tune with this team as we think he should be. You know, he's a businessman. I've said this before. He's a businessman. He's not like how his brother was or his father was. Like, he's a businessman, and he's depending on his crew to kind of handle everything. He's doing the last say-so, right? Sure. Show me the numbers. Show me how this would work. Okay, cool. That's why every time you see an interview of his, he looks lost. He looks completely lost. But, you know, he has been providing the funds. I think my only complaint about Hal Steinbrenner is he's been letting Brian Cashman deal this way for way too long. He's believing in Cashman too much. I want to see if there's going to be any big changes to this organization. Will they kind of tell Cashman, like, look, we're not firing you, but just kind of step down and let Simeon or Mania, one of these guys, kind of take over for a bit? I don't know. Try something. I don't think, and when we talk about the injuries, I don't think the conditioning coaches and whatnot, I don't think they're at fault. I just think this organization is bringing in a lot of players that have injury history. So let's see what. I feel like Hal trusts Brian Cashman so much, and he believes him so much that whatever Cashman, you know, shows him, like, well, this is why this is happening, and, you know, it's a gamble, and he's like, okay, cool, I gotta go, I have a meeting. You know, Yankee fans, let's hold tight. Let's see what happens. They're not gonna fire Boone. Boone, we can sit here and be mad at him all we want, but that dude, if anything, if we want to be mad at him, let's be mad at him for being a puppet and not standing up to the organization and saying, let me get some control. Let me deal from the gut once in a while. Because Michael Kay said that, Brian Cashman said it, sure, he's allowed to make moves from the gut and kind of out of the numbers, but he has answering to do if it doesn't work out. So, and then they say Boone believes in the process. Boone believes in the numbers. So if they get rid of Boone, they're going to bring in somebody just like him. Until Brian Cashman and that whole philosophy that they have, until they go, nothing's going to change. So for now, I'm just going to hope that it works out. I'm going to hope that the process works. I'm going to hope that the Yankees philosophy actually works out this season. If not, well, what are we going to do? Not watch the team? I'm not going to stop watching. I'm not going to stop supporting this team. You know, I've been a fan since I was a little kid. I don't know what else. I don't know how to not be a Yankee fan. So, let's see what happens, folks. Stay positive. You know, don't lose hope just yet. Let's see how this team is once they're all healthy. Once they're healthy and they're still playing like shit and we miss the playoffs, yeah, we could sit here and complain all we want. We could, you know, they're going to riot. But anyways, let's see what happens. Leave a like, subscribe, tell us what you feel. Give us your opinions. Don't let anybody tell you that your opinions don't matter. We matter, folks. Go on Twitter, follow me at Don Sicario1. Hit at NYYNEWS. Hit the shop up. Gift yourself. Treat yourself. But remember, folks, hold it down.
Mixing live straight from New York City.